Well, it's a lovely afternoon, everybody, and I'm outside and it's terribly cold, really, quite bitterly cold. There's been snow. This snow is from about 2 days ago. There has been a lot of snow in Connacht, which is over in the west of Ireland. Well, actually not exactly the west of Connacht, more the east of Connacht, but in Connacht. And there's been a lot up in Northern Ireland as well, apparently. So I thought I'd just come out and make a little video just to show you how everything is looking as we approach midwinter. And I did actually look at a Facebook site this morning, and there were some people in America who said that midwinter isn't until January. And I understand there's actually sort of quite a mix worldwide of when midwinter occurs. And of course, if you go down below the equator, it's completely different. It's the polar opposite, so to speak. So all I know is that here in Ireland, of course, the 21st of December or thereabouts, give or take 24 hours, is midwinter. And it's very much to do with the solar aspect of the calendar, which is that the shortest day, the day of the least sunlight, the day when the sun is at its very, very lowest, is the midpoint of the winter, in the same way as the day when the sun is at its very highest is the midpoint of the summer. Because of course, from the 21st of December, each day will get a little bit longer and a little bit brighter. And so we're facing into then what is very much here anyway in Ireland, going kind of ascending towards the spring, ascending towards Immock and the first milk of the ewe. So, got my little Yuletide wreath on the door. I've been over to the post office and posted off lots and lots of Guide to the Deep Midwinter books and lots of the Goddess books. I'm going to make sure I get, all the orders that are placed with me. I'll make sure they're all posted before I go to Canada on the 20th. So, the colours again, just out here, on the land, are just beautiful. There's a lovely skeletal sort of look to everything. And, yes, you can hear birds, but they're not out there singing. They have actually very little at this point to sing about. And of course singing takes up a lot of energy, and it's done for other purposes, like for attracting mates, etc. So at this time of the year, all their energy is going towards just keeping alive, keeping warm, making sure that they survive the winter. And it's quite cold as we approach midwinter. It does get colder though in January, because the difference between December and January is that in January you have a lot of drying winds, and it's that wind chill factor which can make everything appear to be colder. So it's just one of those beautiful, beautiful days. You've got blues up there in the sky, you've got pinks and corals, and I've often said I wish I could paint, because look at that view, for example. I absolutely love the idea of being able to transmit all that onto a canvas. But I'll have to make do with my camera. So there's a little bird just flown through there. It's tweeting. They fly so fast as well at this time of the year. It's hard to sort of make them out. So this is a good time of the year to clear out your pantry. And that's something that I'm going to be doing this week. I'm going to be clearing the pantry. And any beans or pulses that have gone wildly out of date. You know, I don't pay too much attention to the date stamps. But if they've gone wildly out of date, then that's a really good opportunity to cook them up and put them out for the birds. So that's something that I shall be doing this week. Making sure I give the pantry a good clear out. Well, part of it anyway, because it's a very large pantry. So it's going to take me a little bit longer than if it was just a few cupboards. One of the good things as well about leaving the leaves on the ground in situ for the winter is that it does give the birds an opportunity to find little insects and grubs and worms, because they will obviously congregate underneath the leaves. And I was I was reading something about the insect population becoming quite diminished in parts of America, and of course with the terrible fires out in California, there's a huge amount of external pressure being put upon wildlife, whether that's the smallest insect to the biggest mammal. The wildlife's been affected, and I don't know, I'd find it very difficult, I think, if I lived in an area where there was such dryness and then there was fires. But I suppose if I lived there I'd be more used to it, and I might be as adept at coming up with small little solutions, because you can't cure all this, but you can start putting in little bits of solutions that can help the situation. I know if I lived in a very dry area, I would thoroughly embrace a desert type garden. And within that desert type garden, whatever opportunities for planting trees and sort of, changing the aspect of things, just tweaking them ever so gently. I was looking at the work of Jeff Lawton. Jeff Lawton is my permaculture hero. I absolutely recommend Jeff Lawton to anyone who's interested in permaculture. He is a wonderful, wonderful Englishman who went out to Australia and really, before Bill Mollison died, he kind of handed the baton over to Jeff Lawton. And Jeff is an amazingly generous and wonderful, wonderful guy. And very, very in tune with Mother Earth. And I know he doesn't sort of talk too much about Mother Earth, but I know that he's very in tune with the incredible aspect of the divine feminine and how powerful that force is. And, how much we've come away from her, and how desperate it is that we should get back to her. So Jeff Lawton would be my recommendation, because I do get emails, people asking me about, could I recommend a particular permaculture book or permaculture writer. Well, it has to be Jeff Lawton. Rosemary Morrow as well, actually, is a brilliant permaculturalist, and she's also Australian, and I love Rosemary's work. So in order to put a bit of balance in, Jeff Lawton, Rosemary Morrow. Highly recommend both of them. Just as I'm walking now, my fingers are absolutely freezing. They've become like little stubs of ice. And I've only been out here a few minutes, I think 10 minutes in total. So I'm going to go back indoors. And I got a lovely parcel today. Now I have opened the parcel, but I want to take the chance just to read the little letter, because it's lovely. Jack! So as you can hear, my cold is getting better. It's still slow. There's nothing rapid about this. I don't know if you can hear that my breathing is less laboured, and I'm not just talking about the cold, but I'm talking about before I had the cold. I think even losing that 8, probably £9 now, I do feel less, what's the word, sort of heavy, if you like, around my lungs. So, hey, it's all good. So, here we go, into the cottage. Now I've got lots and lots of stuff here in the porch. Are you coming in, Jack? And someone was saying to me yesterday, where was Jack on the video? We missed Jack. Well, this lazy sleepy boy was sleeping behind the sofa, and he wouldn't actually be bothered to come round the front of the sofa. Now, so here we go. Now I must just show you, I've got a few beautiful little things in here. The letter. Do you know, I was actually in a hurry this morning, but something made me stop just to read this beautiful letter, okay? And it's from Robin Hood Country, Middle England. I love that. And that looks like calf kits and notepaper. And it's from Carol in Nottingham. So I'm going to read that in a moment. But just before I do, I want to show you what Carol has sent me. Okay, I've got a few little notes and things there. And I've got a few little prezzies for the pussycats and for Jack. But this is fab. I'm going to be so warm. Oh, sorry, Sammy Bear. I didn't realise you were underneath the box. Sorry. Yeah, I'll just show you this. This is just fab, and it's so lovely. Do you know, I'm so lucky. I am so blessed that so many people care. This is a beautiful poncho. Look, you see, this is the neck here. Look, and this is the. Look at this, and it's made in British wool. Isn't this gorgeous? Absolutely lovely. British wool. Look at that. So I've got this gorgeous, gorgeous poncho. Thank you so very much, Carol. And I love the Hagstone. I've been sent a Hagstone now. I've actually got a lot of these that I collect here in Ireland. But this is one from, I think, Carol, if my memory serves me right from reading the letter, it's from a beach in Suffolk or Sussex, and I think I've been to that beach, and she's put it onto purple ribbon. Now, and there's a reason behind that. So, I'm just going to read the letter. I want to share this with you. Robin Hood Country. Well, you know where that is, don't you, folks? It's Middle England, and it's Sherwood Forest. Dear Colette, it occurs to me that you must wonder sometimes how people find you. I often look at gardening tutorials, permaculture blogs, posts relating to sustainability and homesteading, so I suppose it would have been inevitable that our paths cross, eventually. However, I found Bealtaine Cottage by quite a different route. Feeling a little bit down in the dumps one evening a few months ago, I had the urge to rediscover music from my younger days. So when the voice of an old Irishman I used to know by the name of Thomas, or Tomas as they say here in Ireland, popped into my head, I accepted it as a sign and followed it. One day, my dear, you'll remember these times and you'll crave this feeling. That's what Tomas said. I remember him saying it like it was yesterday, though it was probably around 1982. So I looked online for some Irish music, and what came up first was Lusta by the Saw Doctors. Soon I was singing my heart out, dancing around. But there, in the sidebar, was you, or rather, Jack. And then I found you. I am an incurable insomniac, always have been, and Irish music has been with me through many long nights, bringing back memories of a misspent youth in the Irish club in Nottingham, because it was the only place open long after the nightclubs had closed. Oh, don't make me laugh. Goodness me. I'm laughing because that's so true, because within my own family, like when it came to, celebratory times, like, Christmas and whatever, people didn't really get going till about midnight. And then then the next thing you'd know, you'd be having a big breakfast. Long after the nightclubs had closed, and there was more dancing to be done. You know why that is, Carol? Because most Irish guys, well, certainly then, I think we have a new generation now, but most Irish guys were so inhibited that they needed to have a good old rake of drink on them before they'd get up and ask a woman to dance. Because dancing was the nearest thing to sex that many of them got. So my grandmother used to say. And anyone who's read the Goddess book will know all about the dancing malarkey. Yes, my grandmother was some girl. Some years ago, during one of my long nights, I found a fact on the internet. I can't find it again, but it said that if a person plants 2 trees for every year they are alive, eventually the long-term effects of this would cancel out their carbon footprint, rendering their entire life carbon neutral. So when I turned 50, I set about planting. I owed the earth 100 trees to cover my 50 years. The 20 or so I had already planted in my garden, I decided not to count in this, and to treat them as extras, to apologise to the earth for the amount of hairspray I used in the 80s. Guilty as charged, my lord. I planted that 100 trees and continue to plant. In addition, this is funny, thinking of all that hairspray. Yes, that was me too. In addition, hang on. In addition, that's it. Mr. Pidge, I am on a separate mission to spread the seed of our mighty major oak. Oh, by the way, Carol sent me 3 beautiful acorns, and this is where they're from. This grand old man who now stands with the help of sticks, once shielded Robin Hood himself. I visit Sherwood Forest regularly, and in the right season pick up a few acorns from the ground, always, of course, thanking the Major. That's the name of the tree. These acorns have been covertly planted all over England and Wales, from Land's End to John O'Groats. I love to think of the Major's seed reaching so far, but so far he has not reached Ireland. I have sent you some of his seeds, in the hope that you will consider planting them for me. Carol, without a doubt I will. You have spoken before about the depletion of oak from Ireland at the hands of the English. So this English woman would like to give some back. I love your thinking, Carol. Also from Sherwood Forest. Although not from the land, but from an artisan market, I am sending you a woolen poncho. Keep the neck and shoulders warm and you will be all right. You said it yourself. Haha. And finally, I give all strong mighty woman a hagstone for luck and protection. This one gave itself to me from a beach in Dorset. Sorry, I said Suffolk, didn't I? Dorset. And that's, Carol, I may stand corrected, but is that the beach in Dorset where all the dinosaur bones were found? Because if so, I've been down there and I had a grand old time down there. It's covered with fossils, that beach. I have tied it with purple because the purple front door, or something purple by the front door, denotes a wise woman in residence. You might want to take out the word wise and insert mad. I wish you well, and will continue to listen, watch and buy future publications. Many thanks for the voice. Carol in Nottingham. Oh, isn't that incredible, Jack? We now have potentially 3 little trees from Sherwood Forest and Robin Hood. And Carol, I'll tell you now, as a child growing up, and I know my friend Lynn in America has asked me to say a little bit about, my childhood. I won't tell you the bad bits. There are a lot of bad bits. It's not always as rosy as one paints it, but I'll tell you the good bits. But as a child growing up, myself and all the other kids, because we lived, in little back-to-back houses, and there was hordes and hordes of children. And they would pile out of all these little terraced houses, parents shouting after them, "Be gone and don't be coming back till it's dark." And we would go off and we would play all these games. And one of our favourite games was Robin Hood. And I even remember the song from the TV series, and it went something like, Robin Hood, riding through the glen. Robin Hood, with his band of men, or something like that. Feared by the bad, loved by the good. Robin Hood, Robin Hood. Jack's wagging his tail. He obviously thinks I've got a good voice. He says, "Yeah, sing some more, Mummy." Yeah, so we used to play Robin Hood, and I, being a tomboy, used to love playing the part of Robin Hood or one of the merry men. And there was a few girls in the gang. A few of them were a bit soppier, and they all vied to play, Maid Marian. She had to be rescued all the time. Oh, I had no time for all that nonsense. Give me my bow and arrow. We used to make our own bows and arrows as well, and some of them were quite lethal. We used to actually wrap little bits of wire around the ends of the arrows. Can you imagine? Health and safety. See, children today wouldn't be allowed to play like that. But we were feral. We had a very feral childhood. Yeah. Happy days, very happy days. And Sherwood Forest, it's a place in England I've never been to, and a place in England I have it on the long finger to visit. I'd want to visit Sherwood Forest, and I want to visit the city of Bath because it's Georgian and gorgeous and Jane Austen-y. I've been to most places in England. Do you know, each county is as different from the other. It's amazing. Anyway, of course, my mother was born and raised in Hampshire, and half my family are in Hampshire. Because my mother, of course, being English, so I've got lots of aunts and uncles there in Hampshire. Yeah. Right, okay. Now, I'm drifting off a little bit, thinking of those incredibly dangerous childhood days. Do you know something, Jack? I can read your mind. You're saying to me, now come on, Mum, you know and I know Carol has sent me bickies. Come on, get those bickies out, because here's a boy who deserves a bicky. Look, he's getting very excited, he wants a bicky. All right then, so we'll go now. Okay, thank you again, and blessings to you all. And Jack, the next time I make a video, don't you be so lazy as to be slunking behind the sofa. Blessings, everyone.